we're probably going to overlook a new rivalry or a set of fixtures that proves to be pivotal in the National League season. But myself and Nave have drawn up a list of what we consider to be the sort of 10 biggest games. And as we said there, I'll start with the first half of the season. Nave, you talk us into maybe the tail end of the campaign. Great. We've started off MK Dons at home. Obviously, speaks for itself. Next up, we've put Stockport away. That is going to be a really interesting one. Obviously, Wrexham lost there last time they played in the National League. Did do the double over them at home, though. Think of the FA Trophy semi-final and that game, the penultimate match for Wrexham of the National League season when they didn't go up. And then there's a spell further on in the season when you look ahead to October. In the space of a week, Wrexham play Salford at home and Bradford away. We've put both of those fixtures in the top 10 fixtures to watch, just because that is going to be a real test. That's the first, maybe looks like one of the first proper tests of Wrexham's squad depth, and particularly at that stage of the season in October, the pitches are starting to show signs of wear, as are the players. And then we've also put on our first 5 of the season, obviously after Bradford away, is Gillingham at home. Only another 2 weeks after that, which is the first home match in November. That's Saturday the 11th. Gillingham are a team who they went viral, didn't they, this week, because everyone noticed that their badge has the nickname Gills written on the crest of the animal that's on their badge. But they are a team who've got a lot of money. We've seen Johnny Williams sign for them, as we mentioned on last week's podcast as well. They are going to be a team to watch. So, yeah, that's the first 5 fixtures for us to watch out for. Nate, there's a lot more as well in the back end of the season.
I mean, you've taken us there to November the 11th. I mean, look, you could keep going on through. I mean, if you just quickly, before I get into my picks, I mean, look at running out November. You've got the Richfay derby away at Accrington. Morecambe, who I saw were tipped to go down by a supercomputer, whatever they are. I've only got a very regular computer, but there's a lot of supercomputers about. They're tipping Morecambe to go down. We've got them at the racecourse, and Harrogate also tipped to go down. But I'm going to skip ahead to, where am I going to go to? I'm going to go all the way to February the 17th. My mum's birthday of all, so in advance, I'm sure my mum will be thrilled for this one. Racecourse at home against Notts County. Now, I'm not sure whether it can live up to the billing, the Ben Foster drama, the penalty save. I hope it worked in our favour. I hope it's not that stressful this time round, but that is going to be a big game. You know that those two teams are going to be up there again. We've seen Notts go and get David McGoldrick. Wrexham, I mean, we'll get onto it later, but Parky was talking about moves. They've contacted some players at certain clubs that are still under contract. Notts County at home is going to be A, a great occasion, and B, just a very, very good football match again. Luke Williams and Phil Parkinson round 2. From there, I've got away the following game, so February the 17th and then February the 24th, Gillingham away. Now, again, at this point in the season, we're talking about playing Gillingham in November. We'll have a lot better idea, Rich, at this point. February 24th, the kind of shakeout. Who is in the mix? Are you a playoff team? Are you mid-table mediocrity? Are you a legitimate top 3 contender? Notts County and Gillingham, for my money, not to spoil my predictions coming up, but they're both going to be in that top tier bracket. From there then, big old derby. I'm sure this was one that people were circling quickly. March the 16th, Tranmere Rovers at the racecourse. Now, if you were an early listener to the podcast when we had our old intro, and we're working on a new intro, but when we had our original intro, a lot of it was Rich Fay commentary. And Rich, who was it now? Connor Jennings scoring a penalty. Was that against Chester or was that against Tranmere? Maybe I've butchered it and got it wrong.
I think that was against Chester, actually. That was the 3-0 where Caden Jackson, Robbie Evans and Connor Jennings scored.
Well, Connor Jennings, he's gone back to Tranmere, hasn't he, this week? So there's yes. My link. There's my link to a butchered link. But Tranmere Rovers, it's one of them where that is... I saw we put out a post before on Twitter, Rob Ryan Red, about derby games. And I asked you to include Stockport, and somebody was moaning that Newport were in there, so that's not a derby. But Tranmere is definitely a derby. That's always a bit spicy. I think back to that away game with Chris Holroyd.
It's got that nasty edge, hasn't it?
You're right.
It's got a proper nasty edge to it, and we need revenge. Tranmere is maybe the closest thing to a pure derby. It is England versus Wales. There is a real sort of nastiness. I remember there was a Tuesday night game. I think we drew 2-2 at the Kairos, and I remember so many police helicopters before the match. I remember the town being locked down. It would have been 6,000 or 7,000 attendance then. Considering we had no fans before the takeover, that's quite impressive.
Right.
And I think it was 2-2. I think Robbie Evans scored, or maybe we lost 2-1. I can't quite remember.
I mean, Rich, Paul Mullen would be bang up for that. He'll be bang up for it. I mean, against his old team, he'll be bang up. Oh, he'll be bang up for that. Connor James on the other side will be bang up for it. That's got all the hallmarks of, with what is it, 7 games to go at that point? That's going to be an absolute classic and must be there. Then we head into April now. Easter Monday. Now, Easter Monday this season, just gone, was Notts County. So, again, can we live up to the bill in Doncaster away? One of the ones that I was circling before the season. Eager to do. You know, new ground for me. I've never been there in terms of ticking off the 92. Easter Monday. I mean, in Doncaster of all places, I'm not sure what Doncaster's like. I'm not sure if it's the most glamorous place in the world. It probably isn't, but either way, I'm hoping to be there. Surely will be. And then to round us out, 10th game that could define our season. Stockport at home, April 27th, the last day of the League 2 season. That is already, that's probably sold out already before they've sold a ticket. I mean, that is going to be the hottest ticket in town again, isn't it? That could be, that could be a battle for the title. That could be that could be anything. But those two teams are going to be neck and neck, you feel, for the rest of the season. I mean, that's a pretty good list.
Guard of honour for one team, couldn't it?
Go. Oh God, I'd hate the idea of giving a guard of honour to a visiting team. That is just. Yeah.
Let's enjoy the ride first before we start worrying about that.
Let's not worry about guards of honour. But Rich, what do you think? Those 10 games, they feel like the key ones.
Yeah, certainly at this stage of the pre-season schedule, maybe there'll be another team that rises up. And we've seen the last 2 campaigns that Wrexham have almost had these forced rivalries. The Stockport one, Notts County last season, not long-term traditional rivals of Wrexham, but teams who become our arch nemesis for one season. I did predict on last year's podcast, and I'm going to do it again now anyway. I can see a situation where it's like Wrexham versus Bradford for the title, and we have a new sort of rivalry. So, who knows? Watch this space, eh? That's maybe one of my bold predictions. And if you've got any bold predictions and you're watching this on YouTube in particular, leave them in the comments below so we can see it. Maybe we'll have like a bad predictions amnesty if we want to make some bold calls ahead of the new season. A safe space where you can say what you want about Wrexham. And
we've got to do. We'll do our 1 to 24, and when we release that, give us your hot takes and kind of what you think is going to be, because I'm going to be honest, last season, I can't remember whether I said it on the podcast or tweeted it, I had Torquay United to be my dark horses for promotion, and of course they got relegated. So that aged, whatever the opposite to fine wine is, really.
Do you remember who my dark horses were?
I feel like you said Woking, and that was...
I did, yeah.
I did. That was a good one. That was a good pick. I was just trying to be a bit hipster, a bit different. I was trying to be... a little bit different. It backfired on me. So this season I'm going to leave my bold predictions but I'm not going to go Bradford for the title. I'm going to go somebody else when it comes to it. So keep your eyes peeled, and let us know in the comments what you think for our top 10 games and which games you think are the most important.